FCC peeps, what up? Define 999 here. Excuse me. Decided to do a little vid. I hadn't really talked about my comic scores in Denver. I know I did a vid of me interviewing James Zeef. Really had a great time with James. Like to thank him again for taking me all around the Denver metro area, checking out comic book stores, hunting for foreigns. I think I had stated before that I didn't have a whole lot of luck in Denver, with the exception of one shop that my buddy Sean owns. But I did have luck in Pueblo. Pueblo, Colorado has a store. I don't remember the name. I think it's the only store, but it's a really nice store for such a small community. And I picked up some stuff there, so let's go into that. I picked up this Action Force. And I'd seen these before. This is the UK. I'd seen it before. It's basically the G.I. Joe #1. I believe it's got G.I. Joe #1 inside it. But I had not seen these 2-packs. This says 2 great comics for the price of 1. And it's preserved. So, you know, my UK friends, let me know how often that they stayed in their packs, because I thought for sure that kids would have pulled them out and not kept this little band on there. So this has both issues, and it's, wonderful condition for that. UK Action Force 1. I think the G.I. Joe 1 is in that. Also, I'm in the middle of a deal with my buddy Brian for some books. And while there, I'm not so interested in Westerns, but this guy at Pueblo, at the Pueblo comic book shop, actually the former owner, had a pretty decent amount of 50s and 60s. I don't know if there's anything from 60s in there, but at least 50s Australian Westerns. And these are printed on really cheap newsprint paper, and they're super freaking cool. Lone Rider. This book is a little messed up, but what a neat cover. I love that cover with the light and the horse and him off and shooting. I don't know if you can see him shooting there. Really cool. Buffalo Bill. Horowitz conforms to the Horowitz Publications Teenage Code of Approved Reading, number 66. Adventures of the Wild West Greatest Hero. Awesome art. Again, basic just newsprint, cheap newsprint covers. And so I'm gonna use these in the trade that I'm doing with Brian. He'll appreciate them more than I will. I think I might keep one of them just to have an example of a Australian 50s era Western. I think I'm gonna keep one. I'm not sure which one, but this is another cool one, Buffalo Bill with the chief. Look at that beautiful headdress there. Awesome. Here's another one, Red Hawk, May 1952. And these books are in pretty damn good condition. I realized that, yeah, look at it. It's got some major spine roll. But for being 50s era books, I was kind of surprised. And how they made their way here to America, who the fuck knows? 1952, super cool. 1951, The Texan. Another really cool Native American cover there. Really dig that one. Look at the Native American things on the side. 6D. 9D, Tom Horn, Indian Fighter. I'm guessing that a lot of the material in here is probably not PC. And, that's something where I think many of the older Western comics probably haven't aged well in the racial department. But still, these are neat. This is a cool one right here. It looks like the Lone Rider is about to get sniped. And it looks like he's about to get sniped from a guy wearing a sombrero. So, wouldn't be surprised if there's some non-PC stuff in there. Cool cover though. Red Warriors, Thrilling Stories of Fighting Indians, 8D, Tales from the Land of the Red Men. Pretty damn neat. And this is my kind of favorite cover here. This has the Lone Rider. This might be the one that I keep. I'm not sure. It's got the Lone Rider, and he's behind two bad guys, and they're roped up, and it's got a cool title. I really dig this one. 9D, number 29. Another Horowitz, I believe. Or maybe not. I don't know. Conforms to the AGP Juvenile Code. Really old book. One of these I'm going to keep out so we can look on the interior. Okay, so those are for my buddy Brian. We're working on a deal on that. Now these other ones were cool Mexican Navarros that I picked up. And one Mexican Navarro and two Laprenzas. Actually, I picked up another Navarro, but I gave it. It was a Superman. I gave it to my buddy James. Anyway, this is El Gato Felix the cat. 1960. I'm not sure what number this was, but I think it says here 1960. It was published October. The problem with this book is that the cover was detached. You know, I wouldn't mind all this rough stuff up here, but the cover was detached, man. That was a bummer. But I'll probably use it as just a research vehicle. Maybe take some photos of the inside. That's a neat one. This one was super neat. I'll wait till that one for the last. So I did a post on this one already. This was a little Audrey Harvey. I suspect it's a file copy. He says 1953. Finding Laprenzas. This is a Laprenza. Finding Laprenzas in decent condition from the 50s it's tough. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it is very, very tough. So when I found this, I knew I had to have it. Yeah, it's not superhero, and yeah, I don't really care for Little Audrey, but I think it's a neat book nonetheless. Now this is what's special. This is a Laprenza Avengers, and I believe it is number 12 or number 10. No, it's a Mexican Avengers number 10. I think it's the first appearance of Immortus. And what makes this one so neat is that this one was actually a part of Ralph Macchio, a Marvel editor's personal collection. So I guess a few years back, Ralph Macchio, who was an editor at Marvel for a while, sold on Comic Connect his entire comic book collection. They came with a certificate of authenticity, and pretty damn neat. And I'm curious as to how many Mexicans he had. I can tell you that this book is in beautiful, gorgeous condition. So I wonder how many others he had, and were they possibly file copies? This one was definitely in, I believe, the 60s. The guy that bought it actually wrote on the backs the dates. Yeah, 1966 is when we're going to pretend, because I don't know for sure, I'll look inside here in a second. I mean, it's nice. Could it be a fine? Maybe even a fine plus? And the fact that it comes from Ralph Macchio's collection, and the fact it's an early Avengers, and the fact it's a fucking Laprenza. Yeah, stoked. We're going to look at the inside of that one. Okay, while cruising around with James, went to some stores that, all they did have was American books. I do not buy American books usually. Usually the only time that I do is when I need the American for a set, or it's a classic cover that I'm chasing, but I usually reserve all my big money for my foreigns. But I went ahead and broke down and bought, I bought some American books. Jonah Hex, Weird Western Tales Presents, number 26. Very cool, very cool. And I have the Filipino of this one. It's a really nice condition copy. And yeah, bought that. Bought an American book. Fantastic Four 150. I own the Taiwanese. This is kind of a rough copy, but I'll just keep it, for the set. I have the Taiwan copy, and I'd like the American copy to go with it. Now this one, everyone knows the Spawn newsstands have kind of blown up a little bit. I still need the Spawn 1 newsstand for my Spawn set. But I went ahead, and because they had First Angela Spawn 9 newsstand, I went ahead and picked this up too. I'm going to be building this set. I kind of shudder at the thought because we know that I believe it's a German Spawn 9, and it's an extremely low print run German Spawn 9 that was done in this kind of blue gray. I forget what makes the cover so special, but I think it was limited to like 1,000 print run. That's going to be a tough book to finally acquire and expensive. But in the meantime, I have this one, the Filipino, and the UK Spawn 9. So that's going to be neat to have. While at that shop in Denver, I ran into this book. And this book, I'm just fascinated by it. It's called Relampago. America's first Mexican-American superhero battles El Pájaro Grande, the large bird. Created and written by Judge Margarito G. Garza. Copyrighted 1977, the year I was born. Art by Sam G. Gonzalez. Dedicated to Mr. and Mrs. Antonio Jose Gonzalez. We're going to open this one up and look at it. So what it looks like to me is someone within the Spanish American community or Mexican American community decided that they wanted to do their own comic book. And when I looked inside this, it had some cool stuff from Overstreet in it as well. Also, I've got a new buddy from Greece that sent me the dildo issue. I believe his name was Michael. I'm going to go back and get his name because I'm going to do an up-close look at these issues. But he sent me this book for free. It is a famous book because of a direct translation instead of a cultural translation. In this issue, Spider-Man fights the Shocker. And the Shocker, directly translated in Greek, means dildo, electric vibrator. So it is a sex toy that Spidey fights. And I'll talk a little bit more about that here in a second. So, yeah, Naimi, make some noise. That helps, baby doll. Let's look at these books a little closer. These specific books, these three or these four that I'm going to look at here. So follow me on this little journey within the foreign funny pages, motherfucker. Okay, so I look back at that footage. There was a lot of glare there. I'm sorry. Hopefully you made it this far into the video. Sorry about that. I'll try to do better. It's hard, but I'll try to do better. Okay. Let's look at these books closer. Starting with the Ralph Macchio pedigreed Mexican Avengers. It's a La Prensa. And I believe it's Avengers 10. First appearance of Immortus. This is a really good conditioned book. You know, it does have some issues. And a little bit of foxing. El Halcón Negro. I think that's the Black Hawk. And here in the indicia we will see here. February 1966. Transworld Features Syndicate. There's Marvel's deal. Editora de Periódicos SLC La Prensa. Book is really nice. Los Cuatro Fantásticos. Looks like an ad for FF. I don't think it's in here. I think it's just an ad. Yeah. Very, very neat book. And with the pedigree, trying to not, you know, especially with these old Mexican books, the pages can be so delicate. You can end up with ripping pieces off. There's an ad for El Sorprendente Hombre Rana, Metal Man, and Los Hombres X. God, I love La Prensas. And there's your back cover. Yeah, this could be maybe a fine. Maybe with a press, could be a fine plus. I don't know. Super, super cool book. Here is the certificate of authenticity. You could tell they put Avengers 10 on there. I mean, they didn't know. Most people, when it comes to foreigns, especially at Comic Connect, I don't think they deal with very many foreigns. So they've gotten better. But it would be nice if they put the actual Mexican name on there. Los Vengadores, and the actual Mexican numbering, which would be 12. But I don't care. I'm not reselling this book. Let's go to the Aussie 50s Western. Lone Rider. Got some bad guys here. He's taken care of. Love the mask. Wild Bullets versus Western Law. Gordon Gotch, Asia Limited, Melbourne. Lone Rider 21. See, I don't see a date on there. All black and white interiors. It's cool how they did the mask right there. Looks like all black and white interiors. Very well, pretty nice condition for a book that's old. Apache Kid. Looks like we're down to the last page. I didn't see a date, but I'm guessing it's old. It would have been nice to see a date. Relampago. Now this is an interesting book. Comic book price guide. Dear Judge Garza, thanks for sending your 2 recently published comic books. I really like the idea of a Mexican-American hero. Don't know why this hasn't been done by any of the large publishers. Wish you much success with this venture. Lada, 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 lada. Sincerely, Bob Overstreet. So that's kind of cool. Looks like they got local ads. Huh. So this must have been somewhere in California, 1977. Corpus Christi, Texas. Okay, that makes sense. A lot of Mexican Americans there. The art's pretty good. Very good. Very, very cool. You know, it's kind of outside of my normal focus. This would be a Spanish language American book featuring a Mexican American hero fighting the giant bird, Pájaro Grande. Look at that. The woman in one. The art's really well done. I'm impressed. Family, the Sizzler Steakhouse, Corpus Christi, Texas. You know what would have been neat if they had just done it in Spanish. You know. Hijo de su. Oh, look there. There's an actual billboard for Judge Garza. That's cool. That's super cool. Okay, now this book I wanted to pay special attention to. My buddy and a new friend of mine named Theodore Michael. I'm not sure, and I'm not sure. I think it's his first name's Theodore. His last name might be Michael, but I'm not sure. But anyway, he sent me this book, and to an outside observer, you wouldn't really know why this book is important. He sent it to me for free, just out of a gesture of friendship. And Theodore, I really appreciate it. I'm going to have to find him something and send him something now. And the thing is that to to someone that doesn't speak Greek, they would not know why this book is important. This is the famous dildo or vibrator or sex toy Spider-Man from Greece. And you wouldn't know it, but that's what that means. It means shocker. So let's, that would normally be vibrator in a direct translation. A cultural translation would have said something else. But the translator, who we know by the name of Vasilis, purposefully left this in, and his editor let it fly, and the rest is history, folks. There's the vibrator right there. I don't know, ladies, is that getting you turned on? He looks like he could do some damage. Is that in English? The pain of fast air? There he is doing his vibrating thing. It's just so cool. So cool. And people wonder why the foreign niche is blowing up. It's for reasons like this. The non-canon Spideys are blowing up. There's many, many other instances of foreign books just doing some funky stuff with our pop culture. And people wonder why it's so fucking cool. Well, this book is a clear example of it. It's an example of Marvel not giving a shit. It's an example of Marvel letting its license go out and just not caring what happened. Why? Because it's probably pre-internet. This book was published right as the internet was in its infancy, and Marvel's licensing department didn't really care. You want to call one of our villains a dildo, a vibrator? Go for it. Our lawyers aren't going to do shit to you. Just make sure your check cashes, okay? Yeah. That's what makes the foreign niche so fucking cool. That's what it is. It looks like a backup story. I've never looked at the interior of the American issue, so I couldn't tell you if this is all in there. But very cool. Again, sorry for the glare on the initial part of this video. We will try to fix that next time. But Theodore Michael, thank you for this book. It's awesome. I love it. Okay, there you have it. That is all my recent finds that I've got recently. I do have a Mexican 120, no, not me, down baby. I do have a Mexican 122 coming my way soon from Mexico. Very excited about that. Gustavo, I'd like to thank you for helping a brother out. My 122 set grows. It grows and grows. Hoping to get that book soon. So I do have some stuff coming. I mean, the most important thing happening right now is that basically in a week and a half, the largest meeting of foreign collectors that I know of that's ever happened in the United States is going to happen. And that is going to be super cool. If you are planning on coming to that and have not contacted me, please do. We need to work out some logistical details, and I need to know exactly how many people are coming. I believe that right now I'm about at 20 people, but if there's some people out there that maybe have not decided they're coming or decided they're coming and haven't told me, please tell me. Tell me soon so I can kind of work out some logistical stuff. Also, if you're flying in, I will be trying to get people rides from the airport so they don't have to use Uber, but a lot of that depends on the con, because I will be working the CBCS booth. So with that, Define 999 out. Keep hunting foreigns, guys. Keep doing what you do. This niche, I've recently been informed that me saying niche is wrong. It's a niche. This niche is becoming non-niche and more mainstream as we speak. So get those books. Start putting them into your collections before this shit blows up. Bye, guys. Define 99 out.